Hey ladies and gents, RF here with another quick tips video. This video today I'm actually branching out from Astronarch and I'm going into to look at Teamfight Manager. Now this is a simulation game where you manage a pro esports team. It's super cool and one of those games that is once again a hidden gem that I think hasn't been getting enough publicity, but I think will soon enough. So without further ado, let's look into 5 quick tips to help you get good at Teamfight Manager. Let's begin. So, first thing you need to know about Teamfight Manager is you need to be realistic. Let's face it, every good esports team gets slapped around once or twice. You're going to have a steep learning curve with this game, especially as you progress in years. When you start off, it's just 2v2, then it becomes 3v3, and then 4v4. The game ramps its difficulty up very quickly, so be prepared to lose every once in a while. You're not just going to run through this game without taking any loss or anything like that. No offense, you're not going to make the miracle run every time. The second thing is, this is an esport. You're not going to get to play your favorite champs every time. There's a meta for this game. When you start with 2v2, be prepared to be running comps such as Swordsman Fighter, Monk Knight, things like that. It's going to be a lot of brawlers at the beginning, and then eventually you're going to move to having more standard team comps that you might see in pro leagues like League of Legends or Dota, things like that. So be prepared to say, hey, players, I know you're super good at Shrine Maiden, but you're not going to get to play her today because it's 2v2 meta, and you're just going to be playing Knight for the 10th game in a row. Sorry, bud. The third tip is you got to be business savvy. Money makes the world go around in real life as well as in esport video games. You need to be able to manage your funds accordingly to make sure your team is best set up. Now, this means everything from making the right upgrade choices with your team house or making the right sponsor decisions, especially when it comes to making sure you can get that easy money. Now, sponsors come in many different shapes and sizes in this game, and some are much easier than others. I would highly recommend making sure you choose an easy sponsor, especially as you're getting used to this game. An easy sponsor would be one that says, hey, make top 4, or just play a certain amount of certain characters. If you are playing 2v2 in your first year and you have a sponsor that asks you to play like 12 rounds of Knight, probably pick that one up. It's pretty easy to get done because guess what? You're playing best of threes and you're probably going to be playing a brawler comp, just like I mentioned earlier. So make sure you're spending your money wisely and hint, hint, wink, wink, probably invest in scouting early on. Oh, was this scouting? Yeah, scouting is key. I might have mentioned it a little bit earlier. Yeah, scouting is the most important part of this game. You are going to want to make sure you scout early and often. Quick hint, you can scout before the recruiting period. So there's recruiting periods in the game. You can scout early, and the only thing that's holding you back is you can't sign the player until it's actually at the recruiting time. So you can technically, if you plan it out properly, scout more than one player in a certain or in one recruiting period because of how the time frames work out. But reminder, you want to make sure you actually are setting up your team and not just throwing all your money to the wind on scouting, because guess what? Scouting doesn't always work. There's times you're going to get someone, you're going to scout a player and he's not going to fit your team. Maybe the team play doesn't match up. Maybe, oh, you spent a whole bunch of money and the player just doesn't work out on your team. Like, I know we haven't seen this happen in real esports or anything like that, but you got to be prepared for that. Also, just down below, you can add your biggest flops in esports to certain teams if you want to. Yeah, you can add that in the comments. But always be prepared to scout early. You're not going to win worlds with an amateur team. You got to make sure you are scouting for a team that'll always make your team better. The fifth, and I was going to say final, but I got one more, don't you worry. The fifth tip is know your players. I didn't think this was a huge thing when I started, but your players, after you scout a few players, have traits. Now, the traits are going to play a large role in your gameplay. Some traits will have players run away after they take too much damage. Some traits will have players just like man mode into the back line, pull a full Leroy Jenkins, and try and kill the player that's been alive the longest. So be prepared to pay attention to that. This can throw your comp completely out of whack if you have a player that needs to be your main tank, but he also runs away when he takes too much damage. You gotta take the time to know your players. Just like if you're a coach in real life, you have to understand what player works best in certain situations. I know I said that sometimes you're just gonna have to play the meta champs, but also players have to fit those meta champs. Take a look at any pro league. There's players that have certain traits that won't mesh with with the meta champions. It happens in this game as well. Last and actually final tip for today is crafting is basically the lottery. Be prepared to get some stuff that just you don't need or you already have or it just don't matter. You're going to throw a bunch of scrap into the lottery and hope it works. You're going to try and craft some stuff. You're going to pray. You're going to hope. Sometimes you're going to hit gold. Sometimes you're going to get that good old pat on the back. Good job, you tried. But like I'm saying, just like the lottery, if you don't play, you can't win. So craft early and often. Try and craft as much as you can. I personally, anytime I have enough stuff that I think like, hey, I can put in 5 into each category, I throw it in there to see how it works. I think for the most part, I haven't looked into it as much with this. The more stuff you put in, so the more materials used, the higher chance of getting something good. But I've got a legendary item off of just running 7, 7, 7, 7 because I thought those were lucky numbers, so I gave it a roll. Last but not least, I want to say thank you guys. This is a completely new game I'm looking at, completely new setup. I'm trying to branch out a little bit more. So if you guys got any feedback on this, feel free to leave it down in the comments. I look at everything I can, try and respond as fast as possible. Also, remember to check out my stream. I'm trying to go live regularly. The last couple weeks have been a little crazy with real life, but hopefully be back there soon. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a good one, ladies and gents.